Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. Let's get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are rising this morning with S&P futures up 0.33%, Dow futures up 0.43%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.33%. Stocks are rising with U.S. equity futures today as concerns over valuations eased and the focus is turned back to the stimulus-fueled recovery from the pandemic. Treasury yields have jumped. The swings in fixed income that roiled markets last week have moderated, but the outlook for longer-term borrowing costs and real yield remains a major point of debate. Over in Europe, the Stoxx 600 index climbed for a third straight session, led by cyclical shares such as automakers and miners. European bonds have fluctuated as policymakers were said to see no need for drastic action to combat rising yields. Over in Asia, shares have outperformed in Hong Kong and China and have climbed in Australia, where data showed the economy maintained its rapid recovery in the final 3 months of 2020. Oil recovered after a 3-day fall. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates this morning?
Well, I've been watching the S&Ps all morning long. They've been up, they were up big earlier. They're up 0.60%, but they've been giving back those gains. And you see the S&Ps actually just turned negative. This morning, I was watching Europe all morning. The European exchanges were all up 1%, essentially. They've given back half of those gains. They're up about 0.5% now. So you got to keep an eye on Europe. The crude oil situation is very interesting to me because yesterday crude, the WTI, actually closed underneath $60 a barrel. OPEC minister came out and the head of OPEC came out and said he expects the economic recovery to be significant later this year. This is your indication that they're going to be raising oil production at the end of the OPEC meeting. I believe the OPEC meeting starts tomorrow. So watch for crude oil, still going to experience some volatility. There's other factors in there as well. I mean, the stronger dollar, you also have the weakening U.S.-Saudi relations, but it's really about the demand. And, OPEC has seen demand increases, which is why you're seeing expectations for them to start increasing their production. The fact that the S&Ps just turned, I'm a little negative, but I'm still, positive. I think they're going to turn back up higher during the session today. But I'm, as always, I'm really focused on the earnings that are coming out.
Well, moving into earnings to watch today, Bill, what type of earnings are we seeing today?
Let's talk about what happened last night. You had, some really good stuff. You had some, JWM, which is Nordstrom's. They came out with a 7-cent beat on higher revenue. Guidance was positive, but but not positive enough. It still sold off after hours. Ross Stores, they did a 37-cent miss on lower revenue. That wasn't good. Dollar Tree, they lost 32 cents per share on lower revenue, but they're coming out saying they're opening up, 600 new stores. Kind of a positive, but still, the stock is moving off of that earnings miss that was really announced today.
Any insights as far as upcoming earning announcements?
Well, I'm looking for earnings that are coming out later today and tomorrow. Burlington Stores, it's ticker BURL, they're set for a 10.9% move. Sienna, they're set for, that's ticker CIEN, they're set for an 8.85% move. Michael Stores, their earnings are coming out, they're set for a 15% move. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Purple, this is the mattress company, Purple, PRPL. They're set for a 13% move when they release earnings. Now, real quick note on Sienna. I mean, the stock sold off hard yesterday, and it may be a good opportunity to jump in for a quick gain, as the stock will likely have a nice little run into the earnings announcement. But I'd be cautious here. I wouldn't want to hold this stock into earnings. I noticed in the last quarter report, the company said that it is targeting $150 million for its share repurchasing program in 2021, after they stopped the buybacks in 2020. But by the time they stopped the buybacks in 2020, they had already bought back over 100 million shares. So it's kind of a moot point. I'd be concerned with Sienna. I think longer term it's okay, but I think for this quarter I'd be very cautious going into it. Purple, on the other hand, this is a really interesting stock. These guys, they're making beds, they're selling cushions. On last quarter's announcement, the CEO came out and he said that they believe they're on track for an exceptional year of growth and enhanced profitability. And he said that as they're heading into the final months of 2020. Their focus is on successfully fulfilling demand during the holiday season and preparing to kick off the new year from a position of strength to profitably accelerate market share growth. I like this strong, positive comment from the CEO. So watch for shares of Purple. I think we could see some nice moves when they release their earnings. The straddle's priced for a 13% move, so it's something to watch for.
Moving into economic reports, Bill, what type of reports are we seeing today?
8:15, the ADP employment report. 9:45, the PMI composite flash report. That's the early one. It'll be interesting to see if that PMI number is increasing. It needs to be above 50. We got some Fed speak going on today. You got the Philadelphia Fed Bank President Patrick Harper speaking at 10 a.m. this morning. At 12 p.m., we have the Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. At 1 o'clock, Chicago Fed Bank President Charles Evans. And later this evening, Robert Kaplan of the Dallas Fed. He will be speaking at 6:05 p.m.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things off with one on Dish Network. That's ticker DISH. Dish Networks and DraftKings, ticker DKNG, have entered into an agreement where DraftKings Sportsbook and daily fantasy experiences will be able to be had directly on Dish TV's Hopper platform. The agreement also allows for subsequent DraftKings Sportsbook and daily fantasy experiences with Dish Network's Sling TV and Boost Mobile in the future. The DraftKings app can be accessed via the Dish voice remote by saying launch DraftKings. So that's another interesting feature they got going. DraftKings share price is up 3.53% in pre-market, while Dish's is up 5.68%. One on a rumor, Sports Radar is in talks to go public through Todd Boehly's SPAC Horizon acquisition, ticker HZON. Horizon share price is up 18.77% in pre-market. In other news, Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, and Incyte, ticker INCY, have reported positive results from a late-stage study of baricitinib, which is a treatment for adults with severe alopecia areata. The study met primary endpoints at week 36, showing a statistically significant improvement in scalp hair regrowth. So Lilly's share price is up 1.05% in pre-market, while Incyte's is up 1.68%. One on Michaels, ticker MIK. Michaels is in talk to sell itself to Apollo, ticker APO, and a potential deal is in progress. A deal could be announced as early as this week. Michael's share price is up 7.10% in pre-market. Lastly, for me, one on Anghami. It's a music streaming platform and service in the Middle East and North Africa that's set to be merged with Vista's media acquisition company, ticker VMAC. The combined companies have a value of $220 million. Vista's share price is down 1.28% in pre-market. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
As you know, Shane, I have sophisticated alerts where I'm indexing every word of every story, and I model these alerts utilizing category codes, which is the metadata from the publishers, to create, more in-depth views, so I can really get, access to those the most important stories very quickly, and that way there's action to be made off of them. I have this FANG alert. I look at it every day. And, Apple, I see a story coming out there today that they're working on a foldable iPhone. And they're expecting that this could be released in 2023. This is kind of a rumor, but it's very interesting. A foldable iPhone from Apple. My Amazon, went off in the same alert because here's an enterprise software company, Micro Focus International. They signed a commercial agreement with AWS. Okay, not a big deal. But what the interesting segment here is, Micro Focus has issued warrants to Amazon for up to like 15.9 million of its ordinary shares. Um, Something's interesting going on there, with Micro Focus International and Amazon. It's not a deal for cash; it's a deal for stock. So we'll have to see. But that's how they're going to be utilizing Amazon Web Services. My Dow Jones 30 alert, it went off again today. One of the interesting things here was, Merck. They're going to be presenting at a medical conference. This medical conference goes on between March 6th through March 10th. Now, the word here is that they're going to be presenting new findings on this HIV research and development. So we want to keep an eye on shares of Merck. This could be really big. I'm seeing a number of rumors here. MetLife is said to be exploring the sale of a peripheral European assets. We'll see if this really turns into something. That's ticker MET. JP Morgan Chase, they're apparently looking to sublet big blocks of office space in Manhattan. So they may not be bringing all their workers back into the fold. They may be letting a lot of them work remotely. And here's an interesting one on GM. Here's an interesting rumor on GM. The GM-backed Cruise, that's one of their electric vehicles. They said to be in talks with the startup Voyage. The companies are said to be in serious talks, though no agreement is imminent. The authors say that if a deal is reached, it could combine Cruise's engineering and the software capabilities of Voyage's presence in the retirement community market. So it's kind of interesting to see what will happen with shares at GM today on this news. My buyback alert, Dollar Tree, they announced a $2 billion stock repurchasing plan. And Dycom, that's ticker DY, David Yellow, their board authorized $150 million share buyback program. My takeover alerts, Apollo Funds, that's ticker APO, they are set to acquire the Venetian Resort and Sands Expo Convention Center, out from Las Vegas. So this is from the Las Vegas Sands. We want to keep eye on shares of APO and LVS today. Boston Scientific, that's ticker BSX, Boy Sam X-Ray. They're going to be acquiring surgical business. They're acquiring surgical business Luminous for $1.07 billion. That was announced this morning.
Moving into our trade talk picks for today, I'm picking DraftKings, ticker DKNG. They entered into this agreement with Dish TV network, and they're going to be, having it so that you can reach them right from their app. You can reach them right from even the voice remote, to launch DraftKings. So it's definitely positive news. It's interesting news. It's an innovative merger that they're making happen, and it's already given them a lot of momentum. DraftKings is up 3.53% in pre-market. Would I like to see it get a little bit lower before I buy in? Yes. So it's one that I'm not sure I want to get in right at the open. I want to watch it at the first few minutes and see if there's going to be a drop before I do go into it. But I do see this being something that can go a little bit higher today. So that's my pick. What's yours looking like, Bill?
I'm looking at Splunk. That's ticker SPLK. Earnings are out this afternoon. Now, the stock is priced for a 9% move when the earnings hit. Now, I really want to get, the stock's trading 148.78 to 149. You want to get it underneath this 149 figure. I would really wait for the opening to see how it opens up. If it's trading off, pick some up at the 148 level, I'm hoping. I think they could show some gains as you get closer to the close. Tech stocks have been selling off, and they've not been holding the gains, but I would not be surprised if it pops very quickly on the earnings announcement. But I'm looking for shares of Splunk, SPLK to move at least $1 or 1% today. And I'm trying to get in at the 148.25 type level around there.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving into what's hot off the press, this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak that will be moving the stocks today. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Bill, looking at our newsware alerts, seeing all the headlines that are streaming in, which are the ones we should be letting traders know about?
Ticker HUDI, that's Hyundai International. They were just awarded a $1.95 million stainless steel pipe order contract. I see LINC, London, India. Nancy Charlie. This is Lincoln Educational. They see 2021 revenue growth of 7 to 12% versus 2020.
One on looks like J&J. Biden says that the U.S. could have enough vaccine doses for every American in May. And this article points out that the U.S. has a $1 billion contract with Johnson & Johnson for 100 million doses, priced at $10 per dose.
MOXC, Michael Oscar X-Ray Charlie. Stock just halted. News is pending. MOXC. Here's one on the Intercontinental Exchange, ticker ICE. They report February futures open interest of 47.1 million contracts. IBM announced, some of their executives are splitting off and they're spinning out into the new company. They announced the new members of the executive team. Keep an eye on shares of Chewy, CHWY. Story just came out that the pet care industry could be worth $275 billion in 2030. Chewy's earnings are coming out in the short term.
Positive news for Caspian, ticker KSPN. They've been approved to sell on Target.com, and they announced that they're a third-party seller for the company.
Ticker KSS, that's Kohl's, said it added 2 million new customers in 2020 due to the Amazon returns program. If you notice that Amazon has return centers inside of Kohl's stores. So if you bought a product you want to return, you bought it off of Amazon, you can go to a Kohl's store to do the return. It's good for Kohl's because it gets people in the stores.
Mm-hmm. One on Zynga, ticker ZNGA. A company just acquired Extra Games for an undisclosed amount. Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing today.
Same here. So that'll do it for us as far as what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind you can receive these same breaking stories just like us simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. And lastly, moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Tuesday. I had Merck, ticker MRK. It opened at $72.84 and closed at $72.85. There was money to make, however. It wasn't completely flat. This one had a drop all the way down to $72.46 and rose to as high as $73.31. So you can make about 1.15% if you did catch the drop and the rise. However, if you held your position to this morning, regardless, the pre-market price had been up 73.30%, which meant that you got at least half a point off of it, 0.64% gain since yesterday's open, and much better, I guess, if you had caught a little bit lower. So ended up doing okay. How'd yours end up doing, Bill?
I did good. Listen, I played shares of Snowflake. That's ticker SNOW on an earnings play. The earnings are coming out this afternoon, but I was expecting, to see a run in the stock, yesterday morning. So here I am watching it. The stock opened up at $270.79, and it moved a little lower to $270. I had my order in at $269.50, so I didn't get filled. But then it just took off, and it ran to as high as $280. That's like a $10 move. It ran to $280.10 and closed out. It pulled back and it closed out the day at $270. But that $10 move higher during the day, is 3%, and it easily beat our both benchmarks. Earnings are coming out this afternoon. Stock's back at $270. It's a very interesting play there.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.